My little MLB hiatus, which is much needed, is now over. Now let's get back to it. Yo, what up, everyone? It's your boy Debo, Debo's Picks. Before I go over my MLB picks for tonight's games, I want to recap last night's NFL Monday Night picks, starting with Saquon Barkley. We had him going over 76.5 rushing yards. He did his thing. We had Graham Gano going over 1.5 field goals made. He too did his thing. Then we had Richie James going over 3 receptions. He also did his thing. And lastly, Tony Powell, we had him going over 2.5 receptions. He did not do his thing. In fact, he only had 2 targets, and both of those targets were broken up by my G-men. They really didn't feel the need to dump off passes to Tony Powell out of the backfield or in the slot, because we're having pretty good success with him running the football against the Giants front 7. Unlike last week's performance where he had 5 catches and 7 targets, he just couldn't mirror that performance against the Giants. And the Giants are a team that give up quite a few catches to running backs out of the backfield, so the matchup was prime. It just never came to fruition. Now, if you played it straight up, you took an L like I did. If you flex it, you won. And if you mix and match without Tony Pollard in the mix, you took a W. But if you didn't, let's look forward to today's picks for the MLB. Starting off with Shane Bieber. I got him going over 6 strikeouts. Then I got Hunter Green going over 7 strikeouts. Carlos Carrasco, not going to mention his nickname until he earns it back, going over 35.5 fantasy points. Then I got Zach Wheeler going over 5.5 strikeouts. And lastly, Lance McCullers Jr. going over 38.5 fantasy points. Then I got another 5-player flex consisting of the same players. It's a little bit of a tweak. And that's Shane Bieber going over 6 strikeouts. Hunter Green going over 7. Carlos Carrasco going over 5.5 strikeouts. Zach Wheeler going over 5.5 strikeouts. And Lance McCullers Jr. going over 30.5 fantasy points. Now, going back to Carlos Carrasco, he's had really good success against Miami. He's gone over this number, I believe, 2 out of the 3 previous starts. And he's gone over his fantasy score, same deal, 2 out of the 3 starts against the Marlins. So I like this matchup for him, and he's definitely primed for a bounce-back performance. And lastly, my 3-player pick, and that includes Carlos Carrasco going over 35.5 fantasy points, Lance McCullers Jr. going over 38.5 fantasy points, and lastly, Shane Bieber going over 6 strikeouts. Now, those are my picks for today, guys. Best of luck. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.